Welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update, hosted by the York Group of Downing Fry Realty. Our show will bring you the most up-to-date information on the local real estate market, presented by leading experts in the field.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. I'm Michael York with the York Real Estate Group, and today we're joined again by John Cochrane, president and owner of John Cochrane Golf Schools. Johnny, thanks for coming on again, buddy.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Absolutely. So last time we talked a little bit about, we'll recap what we discussed last time about moving into the follow-through, which is a little unconventional what most people would think of starting with the backswing. But take us what we thought going through on the follow-through last time.
So, I think it's important that, the destination, your destination is the front part of your swing. So if you think of the swing being a circle, it's going to be it's much easier for the backswing to comply to the front. So most people that I've seen, they don't get in a good balance position. So on the recap side, we're just going to talk about the rotation, the extension. So when you're in your proper posture position, the drills we talked about last time, let's get Mikey to hold this, is that if you can put your hands up against the wall and you balance your posture, we're trying to get the lower body to go all the way through as far as you can. Now, depending on your flexibility and your age, you want to make sure that when you're turning, just turn. As long as your hips are turning and moving and you're using your feet, just go as far as you can. But the goal eventually would be to go all the way up onto your toe, knees tight together. If your stance is perfect width apart, your knees will finish perfectly even. If your stance is too far apart, obviously your knees can't touch. So it's very important that we're trying to get the upper body to hold back and the lower body to move. So if I put my hands up on the wall and I just hold it there and try to keep my shoulders as level as possible, that's going to get what we call separation in place, right? That's the first thing I'd be working on. Every morning you get up, a little 5-minute exercise doing that, getting your body conditioned because you're going to go play golf. From there, now we can grip the golf club. We've got our lower body, and what we practice is going to point. So we're going to bow in our posture, right? And then from there, we're going to go knees together point drill. So our lower body is going to go right through, and we're going to push the club. You can even put a ball on the ground, what we call push drills. Put a ball on the ground, and then drive your hips to drive your arms. So remember what I said, drive your hips to drive your arms. So you're working through your feet, you drive your hips, and your arms go to extension. Make sure the toe of the golf club is pointing up, right? Your knees are together, and you're on that slight tilt. And remember, the reason for the slight tilt is we've already bowed in posture. That's the angle of your body, and it's very important that that body angle finishes in the same. But the lower body must be fully released, and you can see I'm in balance. And if I stand here, I can stand here all day long. But as soon as I go vertical, I'm now actually out of balance. Very important part of having an opportunity for the golf club to return on the same path, which we're going to talk about.
When you lose that balance, you lose all your power and speed.
You lose all your power and speed. And the last thing we said is, and again, you guys can do this at home, is just practice hinging your wrists. If it's too hard, use your other hand and just work on your wrist going back and forth. It's called wrist flexion. 80% of your power is coming from that joint. And opposite side, palm up if you're a right-handed golfer, right? Palms up. And now when I finish, I've got the knees together point, and then my hinge, and I'm going to finish with 2 square letter C's, club over shoulder into your height. And what's really interesting about this, if I go this way, and that would be the finish position, knees together in my tilt, elbows together. If I turn back and I put the club back down, I'm right back in the same point. So the address position, your extension position, again, and your finish position are all equal to the center. So just doing those little drills, and make sure you do it in front of the mirror because that's really important. You need to really see how your body's rotating, and that this is called sequencing. Is it in sequence? Are the hips driving the arms forward into that finish position, and you'll get lots of power.
Well, thank you for the recap, Johnny. When we come back, we're going to get into today's lesson, which will be working on the backswing.
Working on the backswing.
Stay tuned.
Thinking of buying a home located in a golf course community in the Naples, Marco, Bonita, or Estero, Florida? Here is what Mark Lai, former PGA winner, says about Realtor Michael York of the York Real Estate Group of Downing Fry Realty.
Hi, I'm Mark Lai. If you have any real estate needs in Naples, Florida, the one company to contact is the York Real Estate Group. Also, if you want a golf course property to invest in, Michael York of the York Real Estate Group is the guy to contact. Michael knows every golf course in Naples. I will tell you this, he's been in the golf business for a long time. He's played all the great golf courses down here, and he is an outstanding realtor. I've known him for quite some time, and he's he's got a lot of integrity, and he very much knows his stuff on all the different clubs here in Naples. So the York Real Estate Group is a great place to start. So if you have any time or anybody that wants to visit down here in Naples and look at the options out there, please contact the York Real Estate Group.
Welcome back to the Southwest Florida Real Estate Update. Again, we're joined with John Cochrane, owner and president of John Cochrane Golf Schools. And today, John, we're going to talk a little bit about the backswing.
Yeah, so
What do you got in your hand there?
well, I got in my hand, I got 2 plane sticks, and you know, all the golf courses down here have these plane sticks, right? But we're going to show you how to utilize these plane sticks to make your body rotate properly, because one of the biggest things is that your arms won't have a chance to swing on a proper circle if your body's not doing the right thing. So I'm going to take the stick, and it's very easy for the viewers to do this. You know, put it in my belt buckle, and sometimes it's even good to have a different color. And then put it across my shoulders, and then I'm going to bow my posture. So we're going to show you how the body actually rotates, and most people don't do this. Most people are very stagnant with their legs, again, just like they are on the front. And what they do is they'll sway off the ball. And if you practice this, you'll find that your arms will start to match to your body rotation. So if you bow in your posture, this is basically how it works. Think of you're in a barrel. You stepped inside a barrel and you close the door, right? So now what's going to happen is your hips have to turn rotationally, right? And they have to be separate. They have to be separate from your upper body. And your upper body has to have the ability to move. That's actually a TPI. It's a Titleist design exercise that most people, when I ask them to crisscross their hands and get them to move their hips, they can't move their hips at all. They're locked out. And the reason is they've never done it. Most golfers will use their whole body as a unit, a 1 unit back and a 1 unit through. And you have to think of the body as creating torque, which is going to accelerate the golf club. Right?
They probably don't dance as much as you at Blue Martini.
They may not.
They're not as loose,
right?
Yep.
So here's my hips. And this is just a great exercise to practice at home. If you can get your hips to move, because most people who do this test fail it, they actually rock their hips this way on the backswing, which is the slide. So we want your hips to turn in a circular motion. So think of the center of your chest and the center of your hips turning together. So above my head is 12 and right here is 6. So I'm just going to turn to 45 degrees. And 45 degrees is not very much. 45 degrees, your back leg will stay flexed and the weight stays on the inside of the back foot, right? At that point in time, people again have been told to keep their head still. Well, you can't do this if you keep your head still. Your head does not stay still in the golf swing. It has to move. And it moves if your body's rotating properly, it will move, you know, with your body rotation.
Right.
I think Tiger moves his head almost 9 inches off the ball,
Yep.
right? Because he has such a big turn. So again, if you're you know, even on the screen when you're watching this, just put your hand up the screen, you'll see that my head's going to move into box 1 because it has to, right? So I get the center of my chest, the center of my hips, turn to 45, and now what happens is there's no more hips, weight's on the inside, knee stays flexed, head stays there, only my shoulders will move. And now my hips turn to 45 and my shoulders turn to 90. So that creates a 45-degree separation, and that's called torque. Yep. That's what allows the arms to get in the right position on the backswing, right? So I go hips turn to 45, shoulders turn to 90, and then from there, you know how to do this, because we did it in the first segment, you just rotate through, knees together, and what you notice is everything caught up, right? It's an easy way to do it.
In sync, yep, and speed.
Speed and synchronization, right? If you can't do that, then you're going to move and your arms are going to come over. And anytime your body is moving, your arms are decelerating.
And what happens when the arms come?
They
usually
come right
go
over
outside.
the top. Yeah, outside. A lot of people are hitting heavy divots.
Spin. Yep.
Yeah, spin. There's just some nasty stuff that will happen.
Yeah, and if your club face isn't closed typically, or you're releasing it left, you'll get the high right shot, and you won't hit it very far.
Exactly, exactly. So simple drill to do for the pivot, right? Again, it's just practicing. You can crisscross your arms, watch the mirror. Everything has to be done in front of the mirror. Watch the hips turn 45 and see if you can hold your hips and get your shoulders to turn more. Now, for people who can't move their hips that much, what I would suggest is open your right foot a little bit more on an angle, and that opens the hip. Yep. So as I turn now, right, I can actually turn my hips more, which allows me. The biggest thing is we got to get behind the ball.
Correct.
And if not, this freezes and we get into the reverse pivot. And I'm sure the viewers have heard tons about reverse pivot if they've taken lessons before.
Yeah,
right?
And I get real steep on it. Yeah,
exactly. So you
spin.
go 45, 90, and then just practice going through to that really good balanced position, knees together. And if you do that over and over, like I said, all of a sudden, right, the body starts to work. And the body has to work to be able to do that.
And now, what else can you do with these? Because this isn't the only thing, correct?
So this is really cool. And so for people who come over the top, We're going to give you some understanding of how it comes down from the backswing and what you're looking for when you're looking from the mirror. But on the range, if you practice just swinging on the range with what I'm going to put down here right now, it's going to improve your game immensely because it's going to get the club on the proper path, and the sticks will give you the feedback, because if you don't put it on the proper path, you'll hit the sticks.
Yep.
So what you do is very simple.
And 99.9% of all golfers typically do this mistake, correct?
Over the top, 100%. So you take the stick, and what you want to do is, Mike, I'm just going to hold this, is you take your club and you go into your setup position, and the goal here is just to get the club to match the stick. So I've put the stick in the ground.
So on the same angle that you would have it at address.
Exactly the same angle. I'm just going to move it up there a little bit. Perfect, right there. So it's on the same angle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a big step over 3 feet. I'm going to take this club, this one here, and I'm just going to put it on a diagonal. And just have it, I would say probably about, I don't know,
foot off
the ground. So I've got two things. The goal here is to swing under, right? So you take your club, and you might have to, if you had a guideline, it would hit the hosel right here. Okay. And you put the club underneath. So now as we turn, so we know that the body turns 45-90, right? So now think, guys out there and ladies, think that above your head's 12, right here is 6, and this is 9 o'clock, and this is 3 o'clock, and the clock is behind you. So now we have to add the arms in. And the arms have to have the freedom to swing on their own as the body's rotating, right? So but they will synchronize, right? Roy's hips move at 770 degrees per second. His torso moves at 924 degrees per second, and his arm speed's 1400. So what does that mean? Obviously, the arms have to travel more, so they're independent. The hips have to travel, they're in a smaller one, right? So there wouldn't be as much. And the torso, that's synchronization. Those are his numbers that allows the backswing to synchronize and the return to hit the ball where it's supposed to synchronize. So in doing this, now above my head's 12, 6, my center of my chest, center of my hips, and center of my hands are now going to turn together. That's the 45. We're allowing it to turn under the stick to 45. At this point in time, 3 things have to occur. No more hips. We now know we have to turn our shoulders to 90 degrees. And this, guys, is where we talked about the hinge of the wrists in our segment, is you have to hinge your wrist to elevate the golf club, right? So what you notice is that shaft now matches this shaft.
Right, it's on the same angle.
It's on exactly the same angle. So that angle there is called the plane, right? And there's one here, and there's actually one here, right? And there's one where you start. And if you connect the dots, that's the circle of the golf swing. It's really that simple. So when I'm turning back, I'm now thinking 3 things are moving. Not my arms on their own, which a lot of people do, or my body tilting. I have to think of my right side as a revolving door, and it's opening.
Yep.
And as I do that, I turn 6, 7, 8, and I hinge, and now it's matched. And that's your backswing. Your left arm is straight, or your back arm is straight, but not rigid, and your right arm will form what they call a square letter C.
Almost
and
like
if you look at from this side here, the shaft is right on my bicep.
Yep.
And if you just practice with these sticks back and forth, because now what's going to happen is I'm going to turn, and I'm going to get there, and then I'm just going to swing. I'm going to practice swinging under the stick, all the way through, and back up to my finish position. So now that creates the path. For people who would come over the top, they may miss the back stick, but they'll hit the top stick.
Right.
So if you think of that shaft has to stay behind you all the way. So if you even just do it in slow motion and watch the shaft stay behind, it has to go under the stick. So if we call this right here at 6 o'clock, right?
Right.
It's actually pointing over to 4 o'clock.
And this allows you to release.
It allows you to swing under, allows the hands to rotate. Anybody who comes over the top cannot release the golf club.
No, you got to hold on.
You got to hold on, or it causes what they call a reverse rotation of the hands, and then you hit left with a big, huge banana slice, and you get no distance whatsoever. So the goal here is just to practice turning and hinging, and then swinging under that stick, and go right through to your finish, all the way through to your finish.
You can basically let the arms just go right under. I mean, just as fast as they can.
As much as they want. Because if you've practiced your body rotation and you swing your arms, what you notice is my body got pulled by my arms. Absolutely. And that's what we're looking for. Is we're trying to get the club on a better path in the backswing, and definitely a better path in the return. And these sticks are so simple to use. And if you practice on the range 2 or 3 swings, walk up, tee up a ball and swing it, you would see that the whole pattern of your ball will change, where the ball starts going out to the right and back to the left.
Well, I've seen them out there a bunch. I've never used them, but I do see them out there.
Well, you don't need them because you got a good swing, but the majority of people down here are not working on path enough, and they need some guidelines. They need some reference points.
Absolutely. And Johnny, just one more question for you. Since we have all of our clients are basically going back up north, 95% of them, give us one tip for the guys that are going from Bermuda down here or overseed back up home to bent grass. Give us one area that you would focus on in changing grasses.
Well, the first thing, and the first tip I'd give you is take the stuff that we're doing on these videos and watch them every day and learn exactly what we need to do. Going from the Bermuda grass, which has a lot of grain in it, bent grass doesn't have any grain in it. It's an easier, to me, I find it's an easier grass to, right?
Oh, yeah.
To read, as well as to putt on. So you're just going to have to adjust. You're going to have to adjust. You got, around the greens, it's thicker from a standpoint. It lies down. Bermuda grass is thicker, and you kind of the ball sit down. So you're going to have to get on the green and adjust.
A little speed. Yep.
Speed is a big one there, especially at some of the tight golf courses. Your speed is going to be a lot faster.
Yep.
So you're going to have to do probably a week of reassessment and retraining, doing chipping around the greens, using your sandwiches, your 8-irons, do your putting drills that you would normally do, which we'll get into segments down the road, and do those things and it takes about a week before you get customized to it.
Absolutely. Well, I'm enjoying the series with you, John. I'm learning a lot. I know my dad is. He's going to Whistling Straits this summer, so he is definitely listening by the computer. But I appreciate you coming on the show again, and we look forward to having lesson 4 with you next time.
Good.
So thank you.
Super. Thanks.